In this lesson, we talk about V-Ray aerial perspective. Consider aerial perspective a less accurate version of environment fog that cannot produce those beautiful volumetric shadows. In more technical terms, aerial perspective is the effect that atmosphere has on the appearance of an object as it is viewed from a distance. As the distance between an object and a viewer increases, the contrast between the object and its background decreases. So those faraway objects will look fainter and hazier. This atmospheric effect works together with V-Ray sun and V-Ray sky to calculate an approximation to the aerial perspective effect. Sometimes environment fog can be replaced by aerial perspective, and it's faster obviously compared to environment fog, but it is not as accurate as environment fog as I mentioned, and it cannot produce volumetric shadows like environment fog. Let's quickly run the IPR. So that is our render without any atmospheric effect. Now let's add aerial perspective. From the rendering menu, go to the environment and effect window. Obviously the shortcut is 8. And in the atmosphere rollout, add V-Ray aerial perspective. And now let's run the IPR. Now the first parameter here is visibility range in meters. This specifies the distance at which the fog has absorbed 90% of the light coming from objects behind it. Lower values make the fog appear more dense, while larger values reduce the effect of the aerial perspective. And obviously this parameter depends on your scene. We know our scene is like a few hundred meters at most, so 6,000 meters is a very large number, therefore we don't see the effect at all. Let's start with 1,000 meters. Now we start to see a distant haze. Let's try 500, 200, 100, 50, and 25. So as we decrease the visibility range, we increase the visibility of the aerial perspective. For now, let's set it to 25 meters. You see how the aerial perspective does not affect the sky in the background. For that, you need to enable affect environment rays. We can increase the visibility range to 50 so we can see the nearby objects a bit better. We have atmospheric height, which is basically like the fog height parameter in the environment fog, and it defines where the aerial perspective starts on the z-axis. So if we use something like 1 meters, you can see the effect start at 1 meter on the z-axis and continues downward indefinitely. Something around 5 meters will be enough for this scene. Let's go for 10 meters. And let's set the visibility range to 200 meters for now. We have in scattered light intensity, which controls the amount of sunlight scattered from the atmospheric effect. The default value of 1 is physically accurate, and if I increase this value to something like 2, now because more sunlight scatters through the atmosphere, we get a brighter effect. Let's set it back to 1. On the other hand, if I decrease it to something like 0.1 or 0.5, less sunlight scatters and we get a darker effect. Let's set it to 1 for now. Now we have affect environment rays and affect background. When enabled, aerial perspective will affect the environment. And if we have anything else other than a V-Ray sky in the background, affect background controls whether aerial perspective affects that background or not. Filter color affects the color of the inscattered light and basically controls the overall color of the aerial perspective effect. Let's try a few colors here. And finally, you can turn off the primary visibility of the effect, but still the secondary GI rays pick up the color of the effect, and it would be more visible if we use a more vibrant color as the filter color. So that is about aerial perspective. See you in the next video.